What's going on social media platforms? Chilling. You know, I log into Facebook every day. Well, not log in because I never logged out. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Those are generally the apps I'm typically on my day-to-day basis, right? And the thing I see the most personally, just one of the things that chaps my hide, is this whole divide between men and women. Correct? I don't personally like that whole divide. And let me tell you why. Because it don't benefit men to be against women. It don't benefit women to be against men. And I think what's going to happen is since the internet came into play, shit has gotten so far off the rails to the point where it's like there's nothing pushing us together versus everything pushing us apart, if that makes sense. And let me tell you, right? Personally, just in the household that I stay in, it's very beneficial, in my personal opinion, to work with a woman than to try to dictate one. Like, I don't like the idea of a dictate. Why the fuck are you running around like you ain't got no damn sense? Your mama leave and go to work and you just turn the fucking the. Basically, what I want to say, right, is that most of the advice that I see geared toward just people, it doesn't teach people how to work with people. I don't know. I guess the advice depends on where you fall in your life. Like if you're someone that wants to stay with, to have a long-term relationship, I think there's an advice avenue for that. If you're a guy that just wants to play the field, I guess there's an advice avenue for that. If you're a woman that wants to protect herself from guys, there's an advice avenue for that. If you're a woman that gets off on playing men, there's an advice avenue for that. Like, there's nothing, I don't know. I don't want to say pushing toward being together. It's one of those things like I think it just depends on where you are in your life. Because I mean, I'm 34 and I'm kind of at the place where I'm settled. So I guess I'm noticing the advice that's geared toward like playing everybody. Because trust and believe, when this YouTube channel shit started, I was on some super red pill, hardcore woman hater shit, right? And as I've grown in my age, I've come to understand that, to me, if you had to ask me what I thought of what I was doing 4 or 5 years ago, I was just on some old playing the field bullshit. And I kind of grew out of it. Like, deep down, personally, I always wanted to be in a good, like, stable relationship. Like, and I know that sounds like that sounds almost like anticlimactic to what most guys say now. Like, the narrative that most men say now is like all girls are 304s, they're hoes, which I don't like the term 304. 304 was some shit that a nigga came up with back in like '07 and in high school. But a lot of the advice now is geared toward like anti-women shit. Hell, it's even to the point where I hear women say like male locker room talk. Like I'm seeing a rise of that, where it's like the girls saying the man shit. Where it's like, oh, you like there are sections of YouTube where women are like saying the shit catered to guys. I don't know if it's necessarily it's. I think some of these women are pulling like a reverse Derek Jackson. Like it's like y'all are saying the shit that y'all know men want to hear. Like. Just to get views. And it's one of those things I've taken notice of. Like, but as far as the YouTube space, personally, where I kind of run around, well, YouTube and Instagram, it's just a lot of this divided ass advice. Like, it's always like, men, it's a shortage of men getting sex, and it's a shortage of women getting the relationships and the love they want. And that in turn has technically turned us both against each other. Like, if you had to ask the things that I really personally don't like seeing, I don't like seeing men and women against each other. I used to relish in that shit. I ain't gonna lie to you. When I was, bro, what the fuck are you doing? This damn cat, man. I used to kind of relish in that type of thinking, the anti-relationship thinking, because when you're not in a relationship, you kind of just want everybody else to stop talking about a relationship, because it feels like watching two people tongue kiss at a theater. It's like, bro, why don't y'all go get a room and go do that over there? But when you're inside a healthy relationship, like, you kind of want to see other people find that. Like, but you also are very aware of how stupid in reality most people on their day-to-day are. Like, Motherfuckers on social media are a different type of stupid. Like, sometimes me and my girlfriend will sit on this couch and we'll be thinking literally the same shit. One of us has said it before the other one. And I just find that fascinating how two people can be in tune that much to the point where you almost say the same shit the other person is thinking. Like, y'all somewhat become, I don't want to say become alike, but y'all kind of get kind of understanding of each other. Like, I've learned things about hair that I didn't necessarily think I'd run across. Bro, what the fuck is your problem? You keep strutting from room to room. This cat is making me mad. I promise I'm going to let that cat stop distracting me. I have a habit of paying too much attention to him. But no, in all reality, in all seriousness, like this advice that's out now where it's like man versus woman advice, like, look, I think both halves are necessary. I think men should play the field like until they're done playing the field, meaning like the shit, like, okay, I think that's one of the things that makes men run out on marriages a lot or just not stick in it, because being the fact that I've done a lot of this shit already, I don't feel the hunger to revisit it. Like, you don't look for things outside of your relationship when you've already experienced everything outside of your relationship. So you're able to be more present in the home. At least that's how I personally feel. I feel like I'm basically very present here. Like, it's not one of those things where I just want to go looking somewhere else for something. It feels like I want to water my own grass, if that makes sense. Like, you know, the same shit that I watch in these videos when these girls are saying like, oh, a man's supposed to chip out $300 on a date, or a guy's supposed to take you to a lobster restaurant. I'm to the point now where I bypass stuff like that. And I don't got nothing against girls that think that way. I just think that everybody has a side that you can stand on. Like, the girls that want niggas that pay for expensive ass shit, find you a guy that fits into that. Like, and the guys that want women that, you know, want to help with bills, find a woman that fits into that. You know, when you start living real life, like when you log the fuck off the internet and you start being practical about a lot of your problems, like you realize a lot of this shit that motherfuckers be talking on the internet doesn't really make any sense in real life. No, in all seriousness, like if you sat down and had a real logical conversation with a person or the person that you're dealing with, you probably can come to an even ground a lot better. It's just that I think with men and women, we have different ways of getting there. When women respond to shit, they typically lead with their emotions. And when guys respond to shit, they typically lead with logic. A lot of times when you talk to a girl, it's how she feels about it. And a lot of times with dudes, it's like with us, it feels like practically what it is to us. And learning that balance between both sides can make for a very healthy relationship once you really figure out which side and whose triggers is what pisses this person off, what's disrespectful to this person. When you actually sit down and have a candid conversation with this person about whatever their triggers are openly, you'll get a lot further with people. Instead of doing all this, you know, I got to sit there and play people. Now, a lot of this advice, I do feel like there are gems in it, but I just feel like it's being delivered by the wrong people. Because truth be told, there's a lot of guys out there that don't really meet women in real life or don't talk to girls or have not talked to girls or can't halfway get a girl. The sad part that frustrates me about it is that these guys that don't have no type of walk around sense for real or have not really actually dated, listen to you motherfuckers on YouTube and they take this shit seriously. And then they try to go apply some of this dumbass algorithm dollar and fucking, 304 body count bullshit you niggas be talking about. They try to apply this shit to real life. Like, you gotta think about it like this. All this shit you motherfuckers be talking about on YouTube, all this silly little fucking 304 body count conversation, and all this extra shit that men try to like simplify into logic when it comes to a lot of these relationship situations and conversations. In real life, in real actual life, in a real bar when people are getting drunk, these girls do not give a fuck about none of that. And that's just their side of the argument because it's not relevant. No, like, be real. Like, really sit there and think of yourself in a practical situation when you're in a bar with a woman, right? And I've leaned over to the guy's side of the conversation. But when you're sitting there talking to a woman in real life, right? And the first thing come out your dumb ass mouth and you ask her what her body count is. Like, look, it's not so much that I care about the conversation, the body count. I personally don't give a fuck about none of this shit. I'm only really talking about it is because the thing that happens to me a lot is people ask me to talk about it. I got cousins that are very much still single and they're very much involved. So a lot of the times when I have conversations with them, this is the shit that comes up. And then on top of that, my algorithm is filled with this shit. So it's like I'm constantly talking about shit that I personally, in my own head, don't care about. I care about boxing and playing Tekken 7. That's pretty much where my interests lie. And then you got to think, being a woman, bro, advice is being pushed on them a certain way. Because you got, look, I don't know the percentage. I'd say, if I had to guess, if I had to just take a consensus over what the women see from their perspective of the dating pool, a good percentage of motherfuckers is locked up. The other percentage can't keep their dick to themselves. The other percentage is on this YouTube shit. And that other percentage that's mixed with the first percentage, they want to get as much pussy as they can. So you got to think about it. The options for women, getting a man for a woman is not hard. Getting a decent motherfucker is the hard part. Or getting someone that wants to stay or wants to commit and really wants to actually be a part of like a stable home and a life. A lot of guys are not trying to do this shit, or they're not trying to do it in a practical sense, meaning like they like the idea of it until some of this shit get real. And then think about it. You get a motherfucker that actually ticks all the right boxes and you don't like him. Like, he's a little too boy. Like, I could just imagine what it must be like to just a guy meet all the boxes practically, and then a motherfucker you just don't like him as a person. like what? Because I can imagine what most guys try to do. They try to logic their way into shit with women, meaning like, oh no, I'm a nice guy and I'm perfect and I go to work every day and I praise Jesus and, I file my taxes on time. I also water the plants. I also walk old ladies across the street, and guys think because they say shit like that women are supposed to be attracted to them. So when it just comes to this whole dating pool, personally, me, just the shit my homeboys tell me, oh my God, I don't even want to see it again because it's too much dumb shit that happens out there. But yeah, man, personally, I hope we get to a point where, the YouTube algorithm changes, where the things that are being said on my timeline actually push people together versus tearing them apart. Because, at the rate we going, it's just going to be a bunch of baby mamas and baby daddies and motherfuckers in single parent households and all this other shit. Folks are going to be screwing up over other people, trying to just get ahead. It's just going to be an ugly fucking field out there. It ain't personally my problem, but I'm just saying, like, for the people that I know that actually are still involved with it, I worry about them, because this whole dating thing in general, the more I hear about it, the less I like it, because it sounds very frustrating. But again, these are just my thoughts. None of this shit I say really matters. You do what the fuck you want to do. And everybody has an opinion, like everybody has an asshole. Doesn't mean you have to be one.